chair decides to open the floor beyond the rules. But basically, the point of speaking, getting on the list is to make sure that they get to speak. I would suggest that if anybody wants to say anything, they should. No. Todd.
Hi. Have a good night.
I think they used the term.
Leslie's on, you're on. I'm going to call the License Hearing and Public Safety Committee meeting to order. The first thing we're going to do is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Amanda Salazar, unexcused. Betty Ackley. Here. Leslie Laster. Here. Dean Decker.
Here.
Barb Feldy, present. Introduction of the committee members. We'll start down there with Leslie.
Leslie Laster, District 8.
Dean Decker, District 6.
Barb Feldy, District 1.
Come on, everybody.
Yes.
Chuck Adams, City Attorney.
Betty Ackley, District 4.
Ryan Sorensen, Mayor.
Let him in there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to move one of the items up on the agenda. Do we need to do all the people out in the audience for introduction?
It's helpful for Kathy to know at least names, but they can do it when they speak, if
Okay,
you prefer.
all right, perfect.
Okay.
All right, we need approval for the minutes from August 11th, 21.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Chair votes aye. Motion passes. Okay, we are going to move, or I am going to move, 3.4 up on the agenda. And we're going to start with 3.4 and then follow the agenda. Okay. And I'm going to turn it over to the staff lectern with Chief.
Let's just read the item. It's RO number 70-2122, submitting a communication from Dulcie Johnson regarding the fire department's ambulance service for 2020.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. I was asked to make a presentation, just an update on our ambulance service. So I got a little PowerPoint here. So just to catch everybody up to speed, we have 5 fire stations located throughout the city. Each of those stations is ALS equipped, which is advanced life support on all our apparatus, and all our members can perform life safety measures. So currently we have 3 staffed advanced life support ambulances. They are equipped with the state-of-the-art equipment that can provide those services. You see in this picture an AED, or which would be on our engines, or a life pack on our ambulances. Obviously, we have our trained personnel that continue to do countless of continuing educational hours or advanced training. And they are all cross-trained as dual role, so they can act as firefighters and paramedics as well. So they're not just medics. So some of the services we provide, I'm not going to go through them all here, but the fire suppression, emergency medical services, specialized rescue, which would entail high angle, confined space, trench rescue, water rescues, vehicle extrications, hazardous materials. We do fire prevention activities, event standbys, emergency management, and then, which would be if there was a disaster, and then all the non-EMS related service calls. So we do more than just wait for a structure fire to occur. Those are few and far between, thankfully. Our majority of our calls are EMS related, but at the same time, we have to be ready to answer any call. So that's what all our personnel are cross-trained at. So just to give you a quick, just a little brief history, we took over the ambulance service back in January 1st, 2008. Prior to that, Orange Cross provided the service for the city. The reason for the change was to provide a better oversight on our ambulance service, obviously to create and give better service to our community and have a little more cost control oversight. This had, it involved a little change in our staffing. We had 77 sworn personnel, and I'll have another slide that shows a comparison prior to 2008, which includes, this one includes our 18 certified medics, which we would need, and I'll show you again why, but to staff our 3 frontline ambulances. In 2008, we billed out for ambulance calls roughly about $1.9 million. We were able to collect $700,000, a little over $700,000, which is 38% of what we billed out. So this graph here, this little table shows in 2007, prior to us taking the ambulance service, we had 73 personnel, a budget about $6.6 million. After 2008, we added those 4 to bring us up to 18 medics. So that brought us our staffing to 77. Again, our budget was roughly the same, $6.8 million. We had about 400,000, a little over 470 of ambulance expenses, equipment, personnel items that they would need for the calls. We brought in, like I said, roughly about 730,000. So the expenses were added to what we refer as that special revenue fund, the 280 fund. This included the cost of the lease of the vehicles, because we didn't have any ambulances at that time, cardiac monitors, the patient cots, miscellaneous supplies and equipment, everything that I said was in the expenses on the previous slide. And this, the next point is the TO, our table of organization. Again, in 2007, we had to hire people in order to take over the ambulance and start the service January 1st. And to staff those 3 ambulances you see here, 2 medics per each shift, which is 3 shifts. That was equal 18 medics, so we had to hire those 4 to bring that up. So today, in 2021, we have 73 personnel. So we lost a few through attrition. 59 of those 73 are certified as medics. And again, none of our members are solely medics. They're firefighters and paramedics. They're dual role. We still have our 3 frontline ambulances and 1 reserve, but we're working towards getting that 4th in service. Our call volume warrants a 4th ambulance being frontline. In 2020, because we're still working our 2021 numbers, in 2020 we billed out roughly 3.4 million. We collected about 1.3 million, which is about 72% of the net charges after Medicare, Medicaid was taken out. Back in 2008, if you recall, we only had a 38% collection rate. And I'll show another slide that defines it a little more. We are currently working with our billing company to try to increase that percentage to 85 to 90% of a collection rate. So we're doing things that we're constantly reevaluating to bring those collection and net revenue up. So this table here just shows a little bit about since 2017 to give a rough idea of what the revenue and expenses are for the fire department. 2017, 4 paramedics, which were under the 280 fund, vehicles and equipment. We had about $1.3 million worth of revenue. Our expenses were about $660,000 for the ambulances. So if you go through the chart all the way through 2021, you'll see we're kind of consistent. We're in that revenue stream of about 1.3, 1.2, 1.4, depending on the call volume. It's all based on call volume, but we're right on target. Same with the expenses. We obviously last year was impact on COVID. This year we're still getting our numbers, but we're on target. In 2020, we began billing for specialty care transfers. And what that is a transfer with a special equipment, what we call an IV pump, which we've never had before, which allows us to bill at a higher rate. So it is going to give us an added 45,000 revenue, which is good. And that's for inter-facility transports. So it's about 20,000 more than what we would have normally had. The one key thing I'd like you all to remember is the fire department is not in a profit business. We are in the service business. We provide a service to the community. So if we are going to look at what the fire department costs and what they bring in, it's never going to be the same, and it shouldn't. The ambulance fund is the only aspect of the fire service that actually offsets some of the cost of having a fire department. Remember, if we do not have an ambulance service, we're still going to have to provide the same amount of service for our fire, whether it's not all the non-EMS that we respond to throughout the day. This table here will show you a little bit about from 2017 to 2020 what we billed out and what we collected. So if that first column there is the billable incidents after the year. So again, these are only EMS incidents. For 2017, we billed out for 3,291 calls, 3.1 million. We had to take the adjustments out, which is the Medicare, Medicaid, which is mandated by the federal government, so we cannot collect. We only are given a certain portion, and that's it. Doesn't matter what the cost of the call would have been. So that was about 1.5 million, leaving us a net charge of about 1.6 million. So out of that, we collected 1.2. 74% of what we billed out. Our average cost of a call back then was $968. So again, when you're taking out the Medicare, Medicaid, we actually brought in 365. That's for every ambulance service throughout the country. They are mandated that they can only charge so much regardless. Medicare, Medicaid will only pay out. So fast forward to 2020, 3,500 calls. We brought in, or we charged about 3.4. We took out 1.5 Medicare, Medicaid adjustments, netting us about a 1.8, which we collected 1.3 million, 72%. So again, we're still in that same line. This table here is just, or this graph is just some of the call volume. In 2008, I could only get the numbers till November of 2008. Ran about 982 fire calls, 2,689 EMS calls. And then fast forward to 2020, which was the most complete, we have about over 1,000 fire calls, 4,300 EMS calls. So our call volume has increased, yet we've lost personnel. So I wanted you guys to get a clean comparison. It's just not the city of Sheboygan. We are relatively similar to just about most of the cities around us that operate the same. So here, this is some of our statistics, our population, our call volume stats. We have 5 stations, 23 personnel max on duty if nobody was off on vacations or anything. So we can drop down to a 60 personnel on duty if people are on vacation and such. 4 ambulances. We do inter-facility transfers. We don't cover outside the city unless it's a mutual aid call. And there is a private ambulance service, as you know, in our city. Fond du Lac Fire has a population of about 45,000, 3 stations, almost similar with the personnel, 20 and 17. They have 5 ambulances. They do the inter-facility. They do cover outside the city. There is no private ambulance in there, and their call volume is a little higher than us, based on those outside the city calls. Another comparison was Manitowoc, and then Oshkosh. So Manitowoc has a population about 33,000, 4 stations, less manpower, 17 and 12, but they have more ambulances, 7. They do inter-facility transfers. They cover outside the city, but there's no private ambulance. And their call volume's roughly the same as ours, give or take, a little higher. Oshkosh, population's way more than ours, 91,000. 6 stations. I couldn't get the max staffing, but they have 27 minimum. 10 ambulances, no inter-facility. They cover outside, and there isn't a private ambulance. So their call volume is much higher, 9,000 total. So again, Sheboygan's right in line. The service we provide, it has enhanced, even though we took service away from the Orange Cross, it's enhanced our working relationship with them. We have quarterly meetings with the Orange Cross. If they need help, we help them. If we need help, they come to us. This graph here just shows you a little bit of how many times we've assisted or they've assisted us. So we give them a lot more aid than they come to us, but it is increasing. So again, we work together. So I hope that, I know it's quick, but I hope that kind of brings you up to speed on the ambulance service and the fire department as well. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. Please let me know.
Thank you, Chief. And Dulcie? Why doesn't it?
Oh.
Hang on.
Can you push the button, Dulcie, on it? Can you push the button on it?
There it is. Do I need to?
Try it.
Dulcie, you can come on, why don't you come on over here?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, you turned it on.
There
Okay.
it is. It's
Yeah, okay, we're good.
Okay, I think it was 2018, the council authorized an independent study of the ambulance service, resulting in 4 recommendations, one of which was that the city should consider adjusting their financials to reflect 18 FTEs, adjusted to 75%, as a more representative cost allocation for EMS staffing requirements. My question is, why does the city not accept that recommendation? It would give a more accurate picture of the cost of providing the ambulance service. I know the ambulance service isn't going to go away, but I think we should know the true cost of it. And doing that would also give you the cost of providing the other services to the city. Thank you.
Okay, Chief, you want to answer that
He's not.
again? Hang on.
Sure. So as I explained to Ms. Johnson when she came into the fire station several months ago, it would be very difficult to account for every aspect of the ambulance service the way she's wanting because of those dual role purposes. We respond, so for example, if we have a heart attack victim right now, it would be an engine ambulance. In fact, it may even be 2 engines because of the personnel, the life-saving measures that you take on scene, the amount of manpower it takes to allocate every aspect of that and then be able to deduct that from what they actually are in the whole grand scheme of things is very difficult. I can't account for every aspect because there's multiple training that we do crossover. Extrication is one example. You have EMS and fire, so it would be very difficult to allocate that. In fact, if we could, I would rather have the 280 fund not even exist and have everything under the 101 because it would make things easy for accounting. The amount of time that we spend getting all these data and all these facts for Dulce or for any member is very time consuming, but it will never be accurate because it is impossible to account for every second of what the guys are doing when they're on a call. There's just absolutely no way. There's no program that exists that I could push and say, okay, clock in. We can't stop, push a time clock, and then say I'm going on an ambulance call. So we do our best we can. As far as the 18, we didn't hire 18 paramedics to be in the ambulance fund. We already had them existing. We hired 4 individuals, which I've tried to explain as well. We hired 4 to bring us up to the number of 18 that would allow us to have 2 medics on each shift for those 3 frontline ambulances. So again, I understand her confusion, but it's just not feasible to do it the way she's asking.
Okay, Dulce, because of time restraints, we're going to leave
Okay,
it to
well, I would
one.
just say Fond du Lac does it, so if they can do it, we should be able to do it.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Is there any questions for the chief from the audience? Any other questions? All right, we will move on.
Do we need to file this or anything, or do
Pardon?
we need to file this?
Yeah, it would be a motion to file.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
I will need a motion then to file Darcy's letter.
I will make a motion to file.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Chair votes aye. Motion carried. All right, moving on. 3.1 is a presentation by potential applicants for available Class B alcohol beverage licenses. Anybody want to volunteer to be the first? Okay,
Go ahead.
you can go right to the lectern.
Do you have any documentation you want to hand out or anything?
No, I do not.
State your name.
My name is James Kupfer, K-U-P-F-E-R.
Do we need an address on that?
Yeah, if you'd provide your.
Your address,
And your
please.
address.
My address is 4707 West Jenna, Jenna Court, Franklin, Wisconsin, 53132.
All right, go ahead.
All right. I am very close to starting construction on the Watershed Hotel and Event Center, and that is located at 824 North 15th Avenue, and it's a 25-room boutique hotel right on the river, and it will have an outdoor pavilion for events for approximately 150 people. As an event center, a liquor license is very important. We expect to do we hope to do, I should say, between 25 and 30 events a year. I would assume that most of them from our research are going to be weddings. Most of them are going to be Saturdays with a few Fridays thrown in. So we will be looking for a liquor license for that operation. We are starting construction in September, and we hope to complete the hotel by June of 2022. We do not plan on having an everyday type of bar. The only time that we would be serving bar-type alcohol drinks would be during events. And then I'm open if there's any questions or anything you need.
I have one. How long do you think it'll take before you complete the construction?
We should be open June of 2022.
Okay, thank you.
You are aware that we do have a 6-month ordinance that once you get a license, you have 6 months to be open for business?
No, I'm not aware of that. When I had called in, the original person I had spoken to was Julie, and Julie has left employment, and that was not explained.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, step up to the lectern. Give your name and address, please.
Well, hello, my name is Jessica. I actually.
Jessica,
Oh.
last name also, please.
Montes de Oca. I recently moved
Address
up
as well,
here.
please.
Okay, yeah, well, my address is still from Illinois. My brother lives here in Sheboygan, actually.
The address is 1621 Indiana Avenue.
And your name?
Ricardo Montes.
So our plan is to open up a restaurant here on Michigan Avenue. The address is 920. We've already started the process of doing some renovations in the place. We got some help from the girls downstairs, and they told us what is needed for the liquor license. So we've been looking into all the inspections, trying to figure out what we need to do before we apply. They actually told us about the meeting today. But yeah, so we've called some inspectors to go and look at the place and give us an idea of what we need to do and things we need to fix up in the place.
So we specialize in burgers, pizzas, and wings. And we believe that we need the liquor license in order to increase our sales by 30% and be able to provide more jobs for the community. Right now, we're looking at doing 10 to 12 jobs with the liquor license, including the increasing the sales. We hope to hire about 25 people. And our specialties are mostly margaritas, mojitos. We're not really aiming the bar business. It's just a lot of help having a liquor license in the restaurant business.
Do you guys have any questions you guys would like to?
Dean?
I guess, so what is your timeline? Like, what is your timeline for opening? And you're currently not open, correct, as a restaurant, right? No, okay.
So right now, we're hoping to be open by October. We're aiming for the first or second week of October.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much.
Anyone else? Anybody else wishing to talk about the liquor license?
Okay.
I'll ask one more time. Anyone else that would like to talk or address the liquor license? All right. Okay, we're gonna move on to, do we need to do anything with that one, Chuck?
Well, that was 3.1, that was just
Yep.
the presentations, now you need to
Presentation.
move to 3.2.
All right, 3.2, which is RO number,
No, it's not an RO.
oh, no?
The
Okay.
3.2.
3.2, discussion and action regarding granting opportunity to apply for available Class B alcohol beverage licenses.
And I'll just make, you hear these comments every time we have presentations, but I don't know whether we've done any of these since the new council year. So just a few things to keep in mind. I did attach the policies that your committee passed about how you make decisions, the guidelines that you use when you grant and deny liquor licenses and decide who to allow to apply. You don't have to grant a license just because one is available. There was, previously you did hold one for a period of time. So you can do that if you want to wait for a project that you believe is more conducive to the betterment of the city. You do have the ability to do that. We do have a limited number of licenses available. Again, you don't have to give a license just because we have one available. If you want to hold off for a potential Rockstar applicant, although we don't know a whole lot about those. Usually we do encourage that if the police department has any input on the decision, especially when it comes to things like locations, we ask for their input, and so you may wish to do that. And then again, consider the policies in making your decision. There's one license available, is that correct? That is our last liquor license. Obviously, there are the reserve licenses as well. We do have a number of those, but this is our last regular liquor.
Dean?
Is there any future, does it look like there's anything in the future for any licenses to be opening up at all, or is this is it, or?
Well, you never know. So
Yeah.
how many were actually on the list today that you called, Melissa? 15. So those are 15 people who asked to be on the list. Now, some of those, I think, stay on the list just so that they kind of are, can stay connected so that just in case they have something in the hopper. Others, though, we have had presentations by others who've not been successful applicants in the past, and some of those may still be out here. I'm aware of at least one applicant who called in today and said, I can't make it. But again, this was the day provided for that as well, so.
Are there any other? I want to ask a question.
I guess then,
Dean?
does the chief have any comments about any of these at all? No? Okay, that's the big, I guess, my concern. Okay.
I have a question, 920 Michigan Avenue. What was in there? What establishment prior to you?
If you go to the mic so that we can hear you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will not be heard.
So I believe it used to be like a French restaurant before. I can't remember the name of the place that was there before.
Do you know?
Rendezvous.
Okay.
I still didn't hear.
Rendezvous?
Rendezvous, okay.
Sorry, I'm not a bar person.
Before that, it was Luz de Luna. Do you remember that?
Okay, yeah, okay. All right, thank you. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
I guess a comment I have is, the hotel, I guess that, I think pretty much would be out of the question at this time because he's not going to be able to open on time. So I would definitely just take that out of the running right away.
All right, any other questions? All right. Any motions?
I make a motion to, grant the ability to, I'm sorry, your name again. Ricardo?
And it would be to grant the opportunity. I think
Grant
the mayor said that.
grant the opportunity to, apply for their license.
Second.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Chair votes aye. Motion carried. There you go.
Welcome.
Welcome.
So for the watershed, basically, stay on the list. He walked out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, RO number 71, 21, 22, 816, 21. Communication from Tony Becker, submitting a communication from Tony Becker to raise awareness on widespread unrestrained dog issues in the city.
Kathy, do you have the list of?
Okay, all right. And I'd like to remind people, we're limited to 10 speaking and 3 minutes each, and we will time and make sure that you don't go over your 3. And we ask that you please be respectful.
She wanted to go last, Tony Becker.
Oh, okay. All right. So remember to state your name and address and be respectful. All right. We're going to take Laura Bertram first. Oh, okay. Hello.
Glasses fog up. My name is Laura Bertram. My address is 5320 Bluebell Court with 53083 for the zip code. Thank you for this opportunity to take a couple minutes. I am currently the executive director of the Humane Society, so we felt that it was important to kind of address the concerns of the community. We also have a pet-friendly task force that has been developed from the prior mayor, Vandersteen, that was started about a year ago. And so we're currently working with our current mayor along with several other members of the community. And we really wanted to take this moment to just inform you all that this task force does exist. And what our plan is. Over the last year with the pandemic, it's been kind of hard to gain any momentum with getting action done with this task force. But however, in the last month or so, we've really started getting some ground. Our mission really is to help Sheboygan, our community, to become more pet friendly for pet owners and non-pet owners alike. So it's not just saying we want to allow dogs and cats everywhere we go. It's really taking the opportunity to evaluate our city and making it a safe community for all pet owners. We meet once a month. We are more than willing to meet more if necessary to really get the task accomplished that we're looking for. Just to kind of really, I think, address this situation as us coming in as a committee that wants to make this community better for pet owners. We are really open and welcome to anyone's feedback. This task force is open to the community, so anyone is welcome to come to our meetings. We meet once a month. Our next meeting is September 29th at 12:30 p.m. So we would love to have your attendance, and it can be anyone who is interested, and you can come for 1 or 2 meetings. It's really to help us make this community better. And I think knowing some of the background of this, the concerns that have been brought up, I think having more feedback from our community is really important for us to accomplish the task that we're looking to do. As far as the incidents that have been brought up, just a little bit of our feedback of what we've talked about in the short term is we're really looking at how we can educate our community, educating people on the ordinances that we have. I think to be a responsible pet owner, proper education is really important. So from the Humane Society end of things, we adopt out roughly 1,500 animals a year. So that's 1,500 different pet owners every year we have the opportunity to educate. So we really want to look at that and how we can properly help people to understand what's safe for their animals, what's safe for the people in their community, and ensuring that we can all live together happily, whether or not we are pet owners or not pet owners. I think it's really important to be addressing aggressive animals. There's a lot of danger associated with the potential of an aggressive animal, and truly understanding what that is and partnering with law enforcement and our community to ensure that we're keeping everyone safe.
That's
So-
3 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, next up was Scott Hansen. Scott, are you in the room? Oh, yeah.
My name is Scott Hansen. I live at 611 Alabama Avenue. I appreciate responsible pet owners, and I am fully in favor of your committee and what you're planning on doing, and I think it's very good that you would be informing other pet owners or talking to people that are not responsible. One of the things the city has done for several years is sampled the beaches. For 15-plus years, we've collected water samples and analyze those samples for E. coli to determine if the water is safe to swim in. And this has been an ongoing process every summer. There's 4 beaches, the DeLand Park, the King Park, Blue Harbor, and then occasionally the Kite Beach. There are outfalls at each of those beaches. Those are the problem areas when we do run into issues, and the types of things that will cause problems are heavy storms. The storms cause runoff upstream down into the storm sewers. They eventually then feed into those outfalls into Lake Michigan or the rivers upstream. One of the concerns is that dog feces has a very elevated level of fecal matter and primarily E. coli. So it's a good responsibility for any pet owner is to clean up their feces and put it directly into the garbage, even if it's on their own yard. It is very problematic on beaches, especially if it gets to anywhere near the wet zone, near the water, because it can contaminate an area of beach for some period of time. It does not take much fecal matter to cause a very serious problem as far as closing the beaches. I've brought along some information that maybe I'll pass on to you and or anybody else that might be interested that just kind of explains the other types of diseases and viruses that are in dog fecal matter, and also an explanation of what the Great Lakes Beach Sampling Program is all about and how they decide when to close the beaches based on the elevated E. coli levels. So my concern is that the property owners are at least informed, and that secondarily, I would request in the future that it be considered that irresponsible pet owners, if found to be leaving fecal matter in public areas, we often find it when we walk along the riverfront, along the beaches, that if someone were to do a click and report, that there is an ordinance, I believe, and there is a fine for people who do that. And I would like that to continue to be in the community code, and that be enforced and potentially that enforcement be assisted by the general public who sees these types of activities. So my interest is not a problem with responsible pet owners.
Scott,
it's those that
that's
are not
3.
responsible.
That's 3. 3 minutes. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Mecca Curtis.
I am Mecca Curtis.
Can you bring that microphone toward, yeah, thank you.
All right, Mecca Curtis, 1716 Alabama Avenue. All right, I am Mecca Curtis, a certified dog trainer, certified dog bite prevention educator, and I specialize with reactivity and aggression in dogs. I watched a video that was posted on Nextdoor, and I do understand how scary a loose dog can be when approached. I can say that kicking, yelling, and running are going to make the situation worse. Education and defensive handling skills of situations would help guardians while walking their dogs. The leash, a tie-out, or secure fence
with 100% supervision are good management tools. Voice control can fail where management tools with 100% supervision can help our community be safer during walks. I believe that if we could somehow get brochures and bring it into more public awareness, that there are actually ways of defending yourself and training methods that can help people with their dogs, I think it would help owners in the community. And I'm done.
Thank you. And Tony Becker.
I'm Tony Becker, 1129 Bell Avenue. Is this on? Okay.
Yes.
I appreciate that Mayor Sorensen started the process that got my letter about the serious dog issues to this committee. But more importantly, I hope that you all have been closely following the several dog-related Nextdoor threads. These threads are filled with posts from people telling their own stories about the various kinds of trauma they have suffered at the hands of irresponsible dog owners. Please, please read these people's stories. They describe everything from the anxious anticipation of seeing loose dogs while they're walking their leash dogs, the fright of uncertainty as loose dogs race up to them, the shock and terror while being attacked by loose dogs, the trauma of seeing their dogs injured or worse, horrific pictures of their injured dogs, the distress from these experiences that stay with them every time they walk their dog, the fear-based decisions to stop walking their dogs or to not even get a dog. And then consider the probability that there must be far more such stories that are not posted on Nextdoor. The part of the city dog restraint code, which allows dogs to be loose in their own yards with just voice command, does not give adequate protection to public safety. This on-premises in your yard code needs to be changed. Then the revised code needs to be widely disseminated to the public through various means. Then also the ways and means to enforce these codes needs to be determined and carried out. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on the issue? All right, come on up to the lectern, state your name and address.
Mike Damero, 1955 North 4th Street, Sheboygan. I wasn't going to speak. I did talk to Ryan about my concerns. We do have a leash law. We also, just because you have an invisible fence in your yard to protect your dog from going out doesn't mean a loose dog can't come into your yard because they don't have a collar on. As far as, we have a very active neighborhood with dogs. I have nothing against dogs. I don't care what breed they are or anything. But as far as when you walk your dog and someone just got bit in the back of the leg by a dog and you don't have your dog on a leash, I don't know what your dog's gonna do. And 3 years ago, my dog did a little roundabout by himself with another dog that was loose and luckily lived through it. So when you want to walk your dog with your cell phone and your dog is pooping in my mother and father-in-law's yard and you want to walk and not even know where your dog is, that's not voice command. You don't even know where your dog is. They're walking in the church garden, they're walking down the street, they're walking across the street. They don't know where their dog is, they're too busy on their phone. So if you're going to have your dog off the leash, I hope the police, I'm sure you have plenty to do, but when you drive by and someone poops in my mother and father-in-law's lawn, and they make them come pick it up, and 2 days later, they're down on the corner again with their dog loose walking around the street that just got warned about it, I hope they would do something about it. And I know you guys got a lot to do, but On the other hand, when you're doing your paperwork, maybe you could talk to them. And that's all I really have to say. I got 15 stitches on the back of my leg, had no issue with a dog walking down the street until this, because I don't know what that dog's gonna do. Because the first thing he does when he's off the leash is go sniff the back of my leg and wanna know what happened. So think about it before it happened. It's not fun.
And is there anyone else that would like to speak? Come on up. Name and address.
My name is Matthew Smith, 1113 North Avenue, 53083. I own 3 Westies, and approximately 2 months ago, my girlfriend was walking them. She was about a block and a half away, going down South 11th Street, and a pit bull came out of nowhere. It's happened several times. On the Thread, on the Nextdoor app, I've never seen so many incidents with dogs in my life. There's just, it's ridiculous. The dog came out and he grabbed my Westie by the throat. It took 25 stitches to fix him up. My girlfriend went into shock. And every time we walk those dogs, we see somebody that doesn't have a leash on their dog. Every time. And I think there should be more enforcement when something like that happens, you know. I had to quarantine my dog. The pit bull didn't get quarantined. It's just unbelievable. I feel like I'm living in a dystopian society here. I mean, it's horrible. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? All right. We need a motion to file?
Whatever. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Alders, do you have any discussion?
Questions?
Anybody?
I guess this is the chief, since he's in the audience here. Is there something we can do as far as like an enhanced, possibly, I know you've done, like, I know some of the officers have done like certain, where they've done, I guess, where they've certain emphasis on certain issues in the city. Like I know, like some of the beat officers have done some videos and things like that. Is there something like that that can be done to at least get a little enhancement on the enforcement, maybe to get some people a little more education on these things, on what the leash laws are, that people aren't following them, try to get something out there, and if maybe an enhanced enforcement like time zone to kind of start things out.
So, Alderman, you've asked a couple different questions, and I'll try to address them one at a time, I guess. So first of all, I would thank Tony Becker for writing a letter, very thoughtful letter, makes a lot of sense. The first recommendation that I would make is essentially that you refer this matter to the Pet Friendly Task Force. It's part of the purpose that the task force exists, and I know that they started to discuss this at their meeting today beforehand, but if the city is going to change ordinances and do those kinds of things, this is a chance to get that input from the community and for alders to decide what changes that they think should be made with the citizens' input, as well as what resources that the city has that the city should put towards this type of thing. So that's one. Number two, you asked about videos or marketing materials or something. I would highly support that. The city has a communications person in the mayor's office that was created to do that type of thing. We would be willing to help out with that. So yes, I would agree with that. Enforcement, we do enforcement as much as we can, and we respond to those incidents where people call us. And so I would agree wholeheartedly that the issue isn't with responsible dog owners, but with those that aren't responsible, who aren't following the current leash law that's in place.
Thank you. I guess that's my
Are there
questions.
any other questions from the committee members? No, comments? Go ahead. Mayor?
You're not on. Too many mics on.
I don't get why that one was.
Oh, there we go. I want to just thank everybody for attending here tonight, and want to thank Tony as well for bringing this to my attention and writing the letter as well too. I've been following along on Nextdoor, and I've seen a lot of the comments too in the videos and testimonials that folks have shared. I do think it's important that the community does still be engaged as well. Call your alders, email your alders. I think that's very important as well in these situations too. If you know that there might be a problem neighbor or different issues that are going on in your neighborhood, the city council members need to know what's going on in your neighborhood, because these are your representatives who are supposed to elevate the voices up so that we can make decisions based on these rules. I know that it seems like there are some neighborhoods that have had these issues happen more than others as well, but I think the continued communication is vital for how we're going to move forward and address these things too. There's a variety of laws and ordinances on the books right now that pertain to dogs and cats and any type of pet specifically as well. Whether it comes to licensing, whether it comes to being on a leash, whether they're allowed on beaches as well too. So when we talk about these issues, there's a wide range of where we can go on these. And that's why we're working with the Pet Friendly Task Force. And after the meeting, if you want more information about how to get involved and stay on top of these things, but please stay engaged. Please keep it up. We're looking at this. We're hearing you. We want to make sure that whatever changes we do make, that they're effective and fit the needs of Sheboygan. So thank you everybody for coming out on a Wednesday human night and participating in this as well. But stay engaged. We still need to hear from you. Call your alders, check out who your neighborhood beat officer is, join a neighborhood association, talk with your other neighbors as well, so that we can have a good joint effort on this is how we move forward. So thank you.
Great. All right. Do we have any motion to file?
Oh, okay. I make a motion to refer this to the Pet Friendly Task Force.
Second.
And technically, it would be a motion to recommend that council refer it to the Pet Friendly Task Force, because they're the only ones who.
I'll recommend that council refer it to the Pet Friendly Task Force.
Second.
Okay.
All right. Is there any other discussion on the matter? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Chair votes aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Our next meeting date will be September 15th, 2021, and I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Chair votes aye. We are adjourned.